Finnegans Wake is all about harkening and play, and I don't think that principle can be anywhere better explicated than by comparing these two passages over 400 pages apart in Finnegans Wake. In it, we see a common architecture in rhythm and cadence and assonance, developed and varied hundreds of pages apart from each other in order to support a harkening principle throughout the book. That different associations can associate with other associations in chance ways, sometimes forming fragmentary strings and sometimes relatively coherent jumbles or agglomerations of common signifiers. And we're going to see that between these two passages, where there are phrases that have either a common subject matter, or a common sound, or a common rhyme scheme, that are going to allow us to make comparisons in very interesting ways. These will chart different symbolic trajectories across the book, and this will show one of the hundreds of strands like this that weave a very dense fabric over Finnegans Wake. This can make the book seem really impenetrable, but my hope should be that comparing these two passages will show just the vast breadth of structural similarities there can be between seemingly disparate passages. If you studied Finnegans Wake for any amount of time, you're probably pretty familiar with the first page. I can recite it by memory, off the call. And as such, we get used to its rhyme scheme, the different syllables that are repeated, the motifs and themes that are established, and the structure of the thing. As such, this is a great passage to go hunting for throughout the book, trying to find associations to it. And as such, this really groundless prelude, which is the opening page, can be further structurated by relating it to a variety of other locations in the book, treating it as a basically developing ground that the reader creates over the course of their reading of the text. We become familiar with this opening page to the extent that we grow more and more to see it as a harbinger of what is to come, as a sort of prophetic summary of the whole book. And in fact, there have been whole books written about how this opening page can summarize the entirety of Finnegans Wake. So let's look at this passage. We can see that I've highlighted some different colors here, bracketing passages together of various lengths and sizes. Sometimes it's small clauses or phrases like river run past even Adams. Sometimes it's single letters, as in brings us by. It can be single words, as in back or arclight. It can be small motifs like tauf tauf or misha misha. Or it can be repeated rhymes, as in roth with twon naten jo. This allows us to locate many different ways that signifiers form relations amongst themselves. The way that we can construct different types of units, be they in terms of content, sound, rhythmic scheme. And we can use this to chart relations to this second passage, which we can find on page 407. And when we look at the similarities, we can see that I have highlighted associating passages in a common color. And the order is not identical here. It's mostly the same, but there are a few cases where we have reversals, where something that appears at the beginning of the page 3 passage appears near the end of the associative clause on page 407, or vice versa. So what I've done is I've actually compared by numbering them. So on this left side, we have the first passage, the second passage, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and so on, all the way to 20, to be seen in Ring Some on the Aqua Face. And then what I've done is I've used that order and matched the colors so that we can see that generally the order is the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those are exactly the same. So when we compare them by speaking them, we can see how similar they are. River run past even Adams. So this is all about the river. And it's got these common sounds of river, run, right? All these R sounds. So we've got a common sound here, and that same thing happens in this first passage here. When lo, wish, oh wish, me saw, me streamed, as the green to the gred. Right, so we've got that same thing with river run being repeated with wish, oh wish, with me saw, me streamed, and then also with green and gred. So we can see that there are some common patterns of sound that adhere between them, in addition to the content being the same. Me saw, me stream, this is the stream of a river. Let's look at number 2. From swerve of shore, was flew, was flown, right? Da 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 da, da 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 da. So here, there's a common rhythmic scheme. To bend of bay, through depths of darkness, da 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 da, da 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 da. So again, common rhythmic scheme. Now here, this is an important change at the beginning of the book, is we have all these R's and S's, and then here we come, bend, bay, brings us by. So now we're in the B's, now we're to harder sounds. So we've got this repeated sound, and really this can extend back into number 3. Bend, bay, brings us by is repeated here, but with a different sound. Green, grown, right? So here it's repetitive B's, here repetitive GRs, GRs, or just G's. Then we've got this common word here, back. Here we've got deeper. So these are common in their kind of connotation and in their rough definition, right? Moving back deeper to an origin, to a starting point, right? Deep inside something is further back inside that something. So these are similar words, not synonyms, but they are similar. And then to house, castle, and environs, I heard a voice. And not only that, but this is really interesting. So to and I correspond to each other, and then heard a voice. The first letters of these are H, A, V. And here, H is the first letter of house, A is the second letter of castle, the second word, and V is the third letter of the third word. So house, castle, and environs, H, A, V, as a sort of counting of their ordinal sequence in this clause. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're talking about Sir Tristram, who corresponds to Sean, right? He is the Tristan in Tristan and Isolde. He's the Siegfried in the Ring Cycle. So these are common characters here. And there's an interesting, albeit totally spurious in terms of historical accuracy. There's no way Joyce could have intended this, but Villelor de Mores is very similar with this French D to Côte d'Ivoire, the country whose flag sure looks a lot like the Irish flag. So, Violor d'Amores, hearkening with this French form to Côte d'Ivoire, and that Côte d'Ivoire flag, which they gained independence in 1960 and changed their flag to one that looks very similar to the Irish. So, obviously, it was after Joyce died, but a funny little association we can make in hindsight just because. Then, for over the short sea, and cert no pure. For over the short sea, cert no pure. So, common rhythmic scheme. Had passin core re-arrived. Pure palestrine air chanted. Had passin core re-arrived. And even this passin core and palestrine, it's just crazy seeing that this has basically all been using the same rhythmic scheme. There's a lot of very tight associations to make here. And then from North Armorica, pan-angelical. North Armorica, pan-angelical. So here we've got a common, just small, this is kind of a compound word, not really. And then pan-angelical, compound word. But these are sort of compact phrases together. And then here we've got a bit of an associative break in the first passage. And the order is a little bit different. We go down to nor a voice from a fire bellowed. And that is voice from afar here. So here, this is very, very similar. One of the closest associations. A voice from a fire, voice from afar. So those are the same. And then Misha Misha sprouts little babies and kind of becomes more phrases. Becomes more pork, mauve port, Misha Misha. So these common M double words split off and double in their associative double from page 3 to page 407. And then tolf becomes tube at the very end. So it sort of jumps out of sequence. So this is where the sequence is starting to change. Is number 13. It's way down there. And then tu art Patrick, tu es Petrus. This is saying thou art Patrick. This is saying you are Patrick, but in Spanish, tu es Petrus. So this is saying the same thing, but it's gone through a translation. And then here, not yet, though very soon after. Not Micheline Kelly, not Mara O'Maro. Right? So this common not this. And here it's a not this, though, very soon after. Here it's not and not. So it changes a little bit, right? It's not exactly the same syntax. These are not functioning exactly the same way. This is a sort of comparative, not this but that. This is a not this either. Had a kid scad but ended a bland old Isaac. What more numerous italicus ever raw sucked frisch nov in urinal. Right? A bland old Isaac, frisch nov in urinal. Had a kid scad but ended. Numeros italicus. Kid scad but ended. Numeros italicus. So again, we're seeing all these common rhyme schemes. Not yet, though all's fair in vanity. A breeze to Everzone or the Brosazozoing sea. So here it's about the end rhyme, sea and vanity. And that's a breeze, right? So we're getting all these rhymes. So the all's fair in vanity corresponds to a breeze to Everzone or the Brosazozoing sea. So here's basically just the end rhyme that we could say for sure. And then we get this common repeated sonic figure. Roth with tuon not in jo. And here we have it again. Softly as the loftly Marconimasts from Clifton, so. Softly, loftily, so. Roth, twon, jo. So here it's a common sound, but here it's mostly about the O's. And here we're getting all sorts of other. We're getting, right, this GH, all sorts of different ways to say this same sound in different orthographies. Really fascinating stuff. And then arc light corresponds to nightlife here. And here this one has shifted earlier in the passage, where in page 3 it comes after the triple rhyme. In 407 it happens before. So they're switching places. And then to be seen ringsome on the aquaface, Nova Scotia's listing sister words. That's common again in rhythmic scheme. So this is so fascinating. I know I went really painstakingly through this, but the point is that there is a common motivic structure or lattice that is forming, and that we can draw associations between to give us a sense of structure. But the thing that makes it so hard to recognize that Finnegans Wake has structure, because it's so common that people just say, oh, Finnegans Wake is totally disjointed, I don't see any structure or form. It's like, well, the structure and form permeate so thickly and is weaved so tightly that you have to go to these micro levels to look at the comparisons here to see just how strong and deep and variegated are the formal associations that form its structure. So I hope that this has just been kind of a small, isolated case of a much larger point that could be made about the text regarding these very extensive correspondences between very extended passages. I mean, to imagine a work this seemingly meaningless can be wafted through and we can find these deep strings of relation, I think is a really fascinating thing. So that being said, that's it for this lecture. I hope it's been somewhat helpful. You can check out any of the other ones I've done on postmodernism, German idealism, gender theory, post-colonial studies, and other classic literature. You can also become a channel member for $5 a month and gain access to, among other things, a private philosophy Zoom, which you can tailor to your needs. I also have super thanks if you'd just like to donate to the channel, because it really helps me out and helps motivate me and allow me to get all the books that I need to make these videos. But no worries, care about yourself first. That being said, that's it for this lecture, and I will see you in another one.